guys, it's Anna. Welcome to my channel if you're new to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you're not new to my channel. If you are new, don't forget to go subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the little bell notification because that way you get notifications. Go follow my Instagram, I'm doing a giveaway at 5K, and go follow my TikTok. They're all linked down below, but Anna6787. If you are new here, my name is Anna and I like to talk about internet drama, internet tea, but I like doing it a little bit differently. The way I do it is I like to tell these stories in depth. So I like to talk about it from beginning to end, how they got their career, and just kind of telling the full story so that everyone kind of knows the full picture before they judge one situation. A lot of people have started doing this now, but I've been doing this for a little while and I love doing this. This is, I think, one of my biggest passions is kind of telling the full stories so people aren't just confused by one situation. If you haven't guessed by the title, this is the truth behind Zoe Laverne, who is a pretty big creator. I'm going to let you know there is some trigger warnings in here because there are minors, and although I will not be sharing the name of the minor, please do not comment it down below just because I want to keep that minor safe. And if you do comment it, I will probably delete your comment. I'm just letting you know. Let's get right started into the video and talk about Zoe Laverne. So Zoe Laverne is a 19-year-old creator on the app TikTok. She started on the app Musical.ly at around 14 years old, maybe a little bit younger, but that's around the age that everyone kind of says online. She started with lip syncing videos, movement videos, very similar to Lauren Bish and Baby Ariel on this app. She is from a small town in Indiana and her backstory is a little in-depth, and I kind of want to talk about this because psychologically it's pretty important in understanding Zoe and understanding how she became this person and how this atrocity is currently happening. So Zoe Laverne's family is a little complicated and this short story has been shared by her. So I'm not just like delving into personal information. This was actually shared by her on multiple lives and the videos are all over YouTube if you want to hear it from her. So Zoe's parents, biological parents, were both addicts to, and Zoe's father got Zoe's mother pregnant on accident. They were not looking to have a child. They were both very into drugs still. They were both on the street and they were struggling a lot. However, Zoe's father's sister came in and said, don't have an abortion. If you have an abortion, you're gonna have a lot of sins, so let me take care of the baby. So this woman who was still struggling with her addiction on a day-to-day life, Zoe's biological mother, was pushed to have a baby by Zoe's aunt and pushed her to have a child. Now, we don't know the mindset of the mother. I believe both of her parents have passed away since. Both of her biological parents have passed away since. And this is the struggle with addiction. And a lot of addicts really struggle with their addiction, and it is a very big mental illness. And I don't know if Zoe's mother was in the right mindset to have a child, nor do we know that she was clean while having a child, because Zoe hints at her mom being out on the streets and her aunt coming and getting her. Zoe's aunt then took Zoe in and kind of protected her from the world. And you kind of see this later on, is that her aunt wants to shield her like she wasn't able to do with her brother and her Zoe's biological mother. And this is a very dark side of the story, but I think it gives you insight into Zoe, and a lot of people don't talk about this. Not excusing her behavior because she is a grown adult, who knows, but I don't think she was ever treated as such. So Zoe has always kind of been known on the internet as a problematic girl. She is considered the Trisha Paytas of Gen Z's generation, and she's always considered very loud and obnoxious and annoying. A lot of people have called her out on a lot of behaviors, so let's kind of talk about some of these behaviors. To start off, Zoe has lip synced the N-word when she was in her Musical.ly stages. Now, a lot of people kind of talk about this because they were very young girls on Musical.ly. Zoe was around 13, 14, the same age that Lauren Bish was, or Lauren Gray, and Baby Ariel were. However, Baby Ariel, Lauren Bish or Gray, and Ari, I forgot about her, all came out with in-depth apologies explaining why they knew that that word was wrong now and how they were just younger at the time and really understand it. And remember, it was a different culture surrounding the N-word at the time. Yes, African and Black communities were telling creators not to use the word, but they continued to use it because they were being excused by white people. Now, I'm not going to get too in-depth with this story, but those were the people that apologized. And although Zoe Laverne apologized, she has been caught in the future still saying the N-word, still lip syncing it in songs. She has been caught on live, and she's one of those people that you can tell hasn't learned from her past and doesn't understand why that word is so wrong and so negative. In part with that, during the Black Lives Matter protest in the beginning of the coronavirus epidemic, Zoe Laverne was marching in the protest, not marching, I don't know what words you would use. She was walking in the protest with a group of her friends and showing videos and showing proof, and she was caught taking pictures in front of a Black Lives Matter mural. So not really paying attention to the protest, but she was just like taking pictures and chilling and throwing up peace signs. She did apologize for that and said she was really wrong for doing that just because she didn't understand how powerful it was. But I think at the age of 18, 19, you should truly understand why what you're doing is very negative, especially when you have a fan base on TikTok over 17 million fans. During these protests of the Black Lives Matter protests, there was also an incident where someone commented under Zoe Laverne's post saying, "All lives matter," and she commented, "You are absolutely correct." I genuinely think this incident was a mistake. Although she's had her racist past, I think that this is a mistake just because I don't think she realized what All Lives Matter stood for. However, she is from Indiana, which is known for being a very red state and was known for being very against the Black Lives Matter marches. However, looking at it from another standpoint in the sense that she sometimes is kind of ignorant to what's going around the world because she is so very involved with herself, I do think this instance was a mistake. Not saying the N-word, not the other ones. Just the one where she commented, "You're right, all lives matter." When that happened, she did apologize for that one, and she tends to apologize by crying on her lives and making a huge scene out of it. Her mother came out and said, well, all lives do matter. So her adoptive mother is a huge conservative and was very for the conservative movement. So there is a huge chance that Zoe Laverne is also a conservative. However, not every child follows what their parents think. So that's just something to keep in mind and something to state. And it also demonstrates a pattern of her aunt stepping in when apologizing to the internet and not her taking responsibility for her own actions as an adult. But these are some of the recent incidents. Let's kind of go back in the last couple of years while Zoe's been on the internet and talk of some more instances. And just, again, the pattern that Zoe Laverne demonstrates while being on the internet. Now, these aren't going to be in chronological order just because no one really has a source of her drama in chronological order. However, these are the instances just as I've seen them happen. So one of the first instances that people talk about is Zoe Laverne and her fandom. So throughout the years, Zoe Laverne has grown very close with her fandom. She tends to message a ton of her fans. She's friends with a lot of her fans. A lot of the people that she surrounds herself with and the people that you see in her videos were originally fans that came to her meet and greets and have met her in person. Because she gets so comfortable with her fans and tends to try and have these relationships with her fans, she's had a lot of issues on her lives. So one of these issues was when she pulled out a weapon. I'm not going to say what the exact weapon is. However, she pulled out this weapon on her live and was just showing it off. Remember, Zoe Laverne's fan base is around 10 to 14 years old. They're a very young fan base and can even extend to being like 8 to like 16. And most of these kids don't know better. So when they see their idol play around with something and show it on live, they think, oh, like that's kind of cool. I want to be a bad bleep like her and carry around her weapon. So when people called her out on that and tried to be like, hey, you cannot do that, you shouldn't be walking around with one of those anyway, she laughed at the fact and said, I know what I'm doing, like, don't worry about me. Another one of her instances on lives was she lifted her shirt up because she was mad at her ex-boyfriend, who we're gonna get into Corey Orlove in a second. I don't like him either. I just don't like him, and I'll tell you why in a couple minutes. But she was mad and just decided to lift her shirt up. Now that video doesn't circulate around as much. However, there were many people on that live, and many people talked about it. Another instance that has happened on her live was when she pulled out a vaping device and vaped on her live. Now, a lot of people have talked about this because she is 19 years old and was 18 when it was legal. And although people are like, well, it's legal for her to do it, remember, she has a very young fan base, and things like weapons, vaping devices shouldn't be done on lives where people can see it. That doesn't mean she can't do it. Just don't be showing it to these young impressionable fans who want to be just like you and do exactly what you do, so they might go out and try and get one of those. And that's not a good thing to do for creators either. So kind of let's talk about Zoe and relationships and how she treats other people, because this is pretty important, and it again relates to the big drama that you're going to hear about at the end. So Zoe Laverne has been in a relationship with a kid named Cody Orlov on and off for about 3 or 4 years. They started dating, I believe, when they were both 15. They were friends before that, and they dated until around they were 18. When they started dating, it looked like every typical relationship on the internet, kind of cute, kind of perfect. And although I never personally watched them, I know a lot of people did watch them because they liked them together. And it was interesting to see a relationship. It's similar to other relationships that have been on TikTok, just two other creators. However, things started kind of going off the deep end when they started accusing each other of cheating on each other. They accused each other of many horrendous things. But let's start off with the cheating. So Cody came out and said that a guy named Drake and Zoe did things, and then the drama kind of ensued from there. And although this was really serious at the time, no one really talks about it anymore, just because it was just a he said, she said situation. And after that whole thing happened, they ended up getting back together again, Cody and Zoe, and the cheating never kind of went away. However, after they broke up for the last time, Zoe accused Cody of physically and emotionally assaulting her. And this is a really serious topic, and I think a lot of people really didn't take it seriously when it happened. There are videos of Cody hitting her, and there are videos of Zoe like freaking out. And although I don't like Zoe and I don't like Cody, these are really serious things that we should probably keep in mind into understanding a person. Does that excuse her behavior? Absolutely not. However, why didn't anyone check in on with her at the time and try to get her therapy and help? And why does Cody still have a platform? Now, there have been videos that have been like proven false, where they kind of explain the situation more in depth. However, to me, it still seems very weird that Cody lifted his hand onto someone else, and no one should be abusing another person, kind of no matter the situation, unless you are doing it in self-defense. And I think it's very weird that Cody has come out with more information. But we're going to get back to Cody a little bit later. Let's talk about another relationship that's kind of been big in Zoe's life, was a relationship with a close friend. There's three close friends that I'm talking about here. There have been drama with other close friends where one girl accused Zoe of like putting her fans on them and sending fake receipts. But again, this is like petty high school drama, and it doesn't really amount to anything serious. Although it's serious at the time, there's drama that is more serious. The girls that I'm talking about, I don't want to share her name. Again, you could probably find it if you really looked hard enough. However, she's been in a lot of Zoe's videos recently, and there's something weird about the situation. Not weird about her, weird about the situation. I started looking into it more, and I found out that this young girl that Zoe's friends with is 16 years old and started being friends with Zoe when Zoe was 18 years old. And to me, although that's not like terribly weird, I wonder how that relationship started with them, and why does Zoe continue to surround herself with people that are much younger than her? And I think that's something really serious that we need to keep in mind, is that Zoe has demonstrated this behavior for a long time. Oh, another relationship that's been pretty negative for Zoe was Zoe's relationship with TikTok was always that she felt she was one of the biggest TikTokers. And although she has been a pretty big TikToker, she was never Charlie's size. So when Charlie started growing, Zoe got pretty upset, and I think it was more of a jealousy thing more than anything else, because a lot of people were very jealous when Charlie started getting a lot of fans, because it felt as though all their time and effort that they had put into the app for many years was just destroyed by another person. But I think what we need to learn from the situation is, although we can be jealous of the people we are surrounding ourselves with, try not to surround yourself with that negative energy, because it's not going to make you progress in life. Every creator has their own journey, and every creator is going to get to their top in their area when they get there, and it's not something you should take so seriously. But that was just kind of the beef with Charlie. She has also apologized since then, but it's interesting to know. Now let's get into the really serious topic with Zoe Laverne, which is the situation with the child. So if you didn't know, Zoe Laverne has recently been accused of assaulting a minor and getting in a relationship with a minor. I would use the P word, but I think that word is not accepted by YouTube, so I'm just not gonna say it. So Zoe Laverne and a young boy, I'm gonna name him Blake, were always seen as the best friends. Now Blake has run a fan page for Zoe for many years and got to meet Zoe in 2019, I believe in September. I think that's where the video is from. And that video is still up on his page if you can find it. Now Blake ran this fan page for Zoe, and as a result, if you run a big fan page for any big creator, that big creator most of the time will end up finding you, will end up talking to you, and will end up, trying to exchange information because you're just appreciative of your fans. Like, I've had fan pages before, and I'm super appreciative of them and send them messages. However, Zoe crossed the line and started becoming friends with this child. This child is the age of 13, and she was 18 when she befriended them. To everyone, it seemed a little weird because it's an 18/19-year-old hanging out with a 13-year-old, going to the movies with them, hanging out with them at dinner, spending a lot of time at each other's houses, and there are tens of hundreds of videos, not hundreds, like tens of videos of them hanging out and interacting with each other with doesn't look like anyone else around. Now, a lot of people think, okay, it's normal for them to be friends. Personally, I think it's a little weird. It's around a 6 to 7 year age difference, and it's just weird. However, people didn't think it was weird until a couple weeks ago. Information leaked of Zoe and this boy, Blake, kissing, holding hands, and basically being like in a relationship. This information leaked from Cody's Instagram, so Cody knew of it, didn't share the information, and then Amber came out and basically accused Zoe and said, you've been doing this for a really long time, no one's talking about it, and I think it's gross, and you are showing yourself as a P word. You need to stop. And Zoe just basically declined doing that and said, no, I don't want to stop, I'm happy the way I am, and didn't acknowledge it from then on. Since that video is leaked, Zoe just said it was a kiss between friends and nothing more, and they didn't do anything else. That was Zoe's first response to this whole situation. Then, as people started calling out Zoe more, she confessed that they caught feelings for each other during a hard time, and they just kissed, and that's all that happened. Now, do we know if anything else more happened between them? No. Zoe has talked apparently to the parents of this boy Blake, and they've talked about it, and Blake and Zoe are not in contact anymore. However, if you look at Zoe's wrist and you look at Blake's wrist, they're both wearing bond touch bracelets, which are basically the bracelets where you can tap on each other's bracelet and talk to the other person. Well, not talk, just like send messages. Usually the taps mean something, which I think is absolutely gross, and I think that Blake should not be wearing that bracelet, and I think that Blake's parents should be stepping in, and it looks like his parents have currently been stepping in because his Instagram has been deactivated. After this whole situation kind of leaked, Zoe really didn't address anything, kind of made jokes about the situation. She made a few TikTok jokes where she was just laughing at the situation and didn't address it at all. Then she went on live and cried on live and said that she just made a mistake, but people can move on. Recently, Cody decided to go on Instagram and say that he knew that this happened and that Zoe cheated on him with this young boy. Now, I have two issues with this situation. First of all, this has been going on for way too long between Zoe and this kid Blake, and I think they did much more than kissing, and I'm very concerned for that child's well-being. And secondly, if Cody knew that this was all going on, why didn't he bring it to authorities? Why didn't he bring it to someone's parents? Why didn't he not bring it to the internet? Because I don't think this is the internet's business. But why didn't he tell somebody? I have a huge issue with that, and it just kind of demonstrates that Cody's also a piece of trash, a different level than Zoe, but also a piece of trash. Just a little small statement there. Zoe's parents have also addressed the situation on live, while Zoe was crying in the corner, and basically have excused it as just best friends, like best friends kissing, not realizing that a child can't consent and can't allow an adult to do this to them. And no one seems to see that. Everyone sees this kid as basically an adult. While children might be mature, they're still children, and they deserve to have their innocence preserved and not being taken advantage of by a large creator. First of all, there's a power difference in this situation in the first place. We have a creator and a fan. Then you can make that difference even bigger by saying it's an adult and a child. You can make it even bigger and bigger and bigger and talk about more and more things and analyze it more psychologically, yet no one is protecting that child. No one is saying, get that child out of that situation. Why aren't his parents stepping in more? We don't know. Blake has not said if he's pressing charges yet or not. I think he isn't going to be pressing charges. And remember, a statutory limit on these things are around 2 or 3 years. And I'm assuming he won't be pressing charges because he's infatuated with her. And I'm not going to say in love, because as a child, you can't really define what that love is. He's infatuated with a famous person, someone who is older than him. He probably gets a lot of clout from that situation and gets a lot of attention. My final conclusions with Zoe. Let's kind of talk about this. I think it's absolutely disgusting that no one has separated Blake from Zoe until now. I don't know if the parents are involved in the situation currently. I think they're getting more involved now, but I think it kind of shows that the internet is a dark place and different creators can take advantage of different people. And also parents excusing their children, and I mean this with like Zoe's parents, excusing their behavior because they just want their kid to feel loved. And I think that's really dark as well, and you just can't excuse everything your kid does. And you can't just be like, okay, they're gonna go to the hospital, stop telling them to do things to themselves. Because the internet's upset, and although that's not okay to tell someone to go, do something to themselves, the internet's pretty upset currently. I think it's also important to note here that Zoe's shown problematic behavior over years, and no one has stepped up to deplatform her. No one has tried to deplatform her, and people keep excusing her behavior. If you idolize a creator, yeah, they're gonna make up slips-ups sometimes. However, this just creator has shown problematic behavior for years, and I think it's time for her to be done on the internet. And I hope people continue to learn and realize that this is really bad behavior and there's no excuses for this. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you liked this style of video. I will be making more The Truth Behinds, but that was Zoe Laverne, The Truth Behind Zoe Laverne, and I hope you liked it. Don't forget to go follow my Instagram, my Snapchat, my Depop, my Instagram, and all of the below. They're all on my link tree down below. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I don't think I forgot anything. Subscribe to my YouTube channel.